Hello horror hereticals! It's time for another Asian Trips where I would do a combined, truncated reviews for 3 horror offerings from Asia from present to the past. In today's episode, KK will do a story about wretched curse from Indonesia, a skin-crawling folklore from southern India, and a scary Thai supernatural horror set in the cinema. We will start with Poison Sangga, Sanye Permisa, Rumah Tangga, or translated as Poison Sangga, the Homewrecker's Curse, directed by Rizal Montavani, who had a prolific 2024, and we have reviewed a movie of his, Sumala, in a previous episode of Asian Trips. The screenplay of this movie was based on real-life events and was adapted by actress Gusti Gina, who assumed the role of Nilam in this movie. The movie entailed the horrific travails of a newly wedded couple. Maya and Andy had been put through barely months into their matrimony. Husband Andy suffered the brunt of some awful curse that debilitated him profoundly, and we watched the unraveling as his bride desperately find a remedy through medicine or spiritual help to get their life back on track. Maya had a long-term boyfriend during college, and after graduation, they felt like the relationship would go towards a long-distance one, and Maya was always going for the pious route for religion and abiding to her parents' wishes. The split seems amicable and X seems to move on. While it was not awfully subtle to insinuate who was the culprit, what had happened to Andy was uneasy for the characters and for us audience to sit through it. The desperate nature of Maya, her family and her friends seeking help from bomos or ustads was heartfelt, even though these recommendations were not thoroughly been researched. While some will be honest with the troubled couple, saying that they were helpless with resolving the curse, there was one that could provide a short-lived relief before symptoms came back in elevated intensity. The movie runtime was close to 2 hours long, and the various points of the storytelling felt like it was all over the place and do not feel linear. With the focus was on Maya, Andy the husband felt very peripheral even when he shared as much screen time, and his character development was almost non-existent except for an ideal husband candidate turned into a victim having been put through hell for the remainder of the movie. Some of the rituals Andy had been put through was something I had not seen previously. The jump scares were kept to the minimal, with the desperation and sorrow of our protagonists being the focus of the film, and it was not hard for us audience to empathize with their predicament. The climatic showdown with the Ustads dealing with the possession, with his past being unveiled by the demon, was something rather unnecessary, but it perhaps wavered his confidence to successfully ward off the demon. This was a total reverse from a movie like Sumala, which demonstrated the versatility of director Rizal. Generally, the caliber of acting was what I've grown accustomed to movies from this part of the world, but they are not distracting. This kind of poison curse was pretty synonymous with a lot of curses we will find in places like Thailand and East Asia, especially Yunnan in China. Therefore, I knew going in, it was not easy to expunge the curse without the culprit ending the curse at will. So let's hope the real-life people affected would have a resolution in the end. Poison Sangga is a 6 out of 10 for me. Let's travel to 17th century Malabar in the southwestern coast of the Indian subcontinent, when a Panan or folk singer Tavan will be escaping from the palace he was enslaved in for an attempt to return home before stumbling into a mana with overgrown vegetation all around the premise, in which Tavan assumed was uninhabited, but he will be entering a world he would never envision to be in. This was 2024 Bramayugam, a Malayam horror with a rework of a folklore from Kerala by director Rahul Sadasivan, whose forte was in horror filmmaking. Tevant the Panan was at wit's end and could die of hunger in the wilderness if not be allowed by the owner of the mana, Kodumont Poti, who graciously welcomed him to stay in his abode and offering him meals with exchange of his singing as entertainment at night. Our protagonist would soon realize that he would be imprisoned against his own will, and the person who had been ill-treating him all the time was going to be a savior, while the mana was governed by a powerful Chatant or goblin. Before the revelation, Tavan spent many nights exploring the labyrinth of the compound, although being told forbidden to do so, creating an ominous feel throughout the dark nooks and crannies of the house. We got acquainted by the dynamics of the three characters in this manner. While Tavern, of a lower caste, was grateful to be treated well by the owner, he was unsure if he would get back his freedom when Potty felt like an authoritative figure that would not accept no for an answer. At the meantime, he felt like the cook was harboring jealousy over Potty's new toy, or was he scheming something else? The cook will unveil the secret behind Potty in a very well-made animated segment, which led to Tavern at the brunt of some nightmarish situations, most of which he could be self-inflicted. There was that battle of wits and wills near the climatic end to allow the coalition to successfully entrap the antagonist, but there was a major reversal in the characters' motives in the end, as writer-director Sadasivan told a story as old as time on how the innate human nature was going to hit the self-destruct button at the precipice of glory. To amplify the mood of the period, Sadasivan adopted a black and white photography which really helped with the storytelling. I was enthralled by the interiors of the house itself, the dark corridors, the creaking roof and the stairwell and the secret dungeon. With the monochromatic palette, perhaps there was no need to indulge in intricate production value. I even suspecting the dark corridor of certain part of the house to be merely green screen or even matte painting. While all three actors gave competent performances which were crucial for the success of the movie, legendary Malayalam film actor Man Motti in the role of Potty was frightening just by having him sitting on his throne. A single glance or smile or sip of his wine would send shivers down the spine of Tevan as well as the audience. For a movie that's more than 2 hours long and with just 3 bare-chested gruffly Indian men crossing swords with merely their words and relentless side eyes towards one another in a black and white presentation, I could see why the movie transcended language, time period setting, and culture and garnered rave reviews from viewers and touted as one of the most highly rated horror movie of 2024. Bramayugam would give insight to Malabar Hindu folklores like a Yakshi or a vengeful spirit, as well as a Chatan or Goblin, was not your everyday horror offerings, and this has the honor to be my first ever Malayalam movie. It told the story of yore, but the storytelling and filmmaking was modern and would not date this movie for audience who would discover it in the future. With all the lyrics being waxed, the story though can have its lull moments, and there was so much the limited location can entertain you, and when the departure of a key character, my interest in the movie dropped quite a bit. This is a 7 out of 10 for me. Coming soon, or
โปรแกรมหน้าวิญญาณอาฆาต
is a 2008 Thai supernatural horror written and directed by Sopong Saktapisit, one of the co-writers of successful Thai horror features like Shutter and Alone. Like in Shutter, which delved into the concept of how photography would lead into unsolicited haunting, which of course linked to a less stellar history of the protagonist. Coming Soon was about a haunting that was linked to a cursed horror movie that had yet to be premiered in cinema. In the prologue, we were shown the horror thriller filmed from a creepy old lady by the name of Chaba, who would adopt young children into her dilapidated house and conduct pedocide, which was a bit much to take at the start of the movie. Yop and Shane were cinema staff who were in charge of screening the films when it was purely nitrate films. Our lead character Shane was a recovering drug addict who pawned even his girlfriend Som's properties to buy drugs in an effort to get his life back on track and to beg for forgiveness from Som. He tried to earn extra dough by pirating new movies that had yet to be released in theaters. With the help of Yop, Shane would secretly film the movie, in this case the cursed movie about the children killer Chaba, but little did they knew of the danger they would be involved in. Shane, played by actor Chantavit Dhanasevi, was not someone I find captivating. He kept having the distraught look, but seeing how he had been hounded by the gangsters who enlisted his help with the piracy, the ghost of Chaba whose vengeance held no boundary, as well as staying clear of his ex-girlfriend Som, who was a cinema staff, sort of like a cross between a security guard and an usher, and would not think twice about reporting Shane if she found out about the pirating activity. I guess I could empathize with the character in some instances. Eventually, Shane realized what had happened to his co-worker, while Som softened her stance on her ex-boyfriend, but the pair would need to uncover the secret behind the cursed movie and find a solution to stop this serial haunting from Chaba. The unraveling of the mystery part of the plot, when they went to the house where the real Chaba had committed her heinous acts, and the truth behind the Jezebel, was the highlight of the movie for me. This also led to a snuff film that was a bit hard to watch, but was crucial to uncover the truth. I thought director Sadat Pisit was dexterous in creating a couple of memorable jump scares with heavy utility of sound effects and musical interventions, something that was more synonymous with a Hollywood production. I also found that he had a penchant of putting the character in the foreground, with the sinister threat looming just behind as a scare tactic. Sadat Pisit had also written script for Phobia and could rouse some levity to alleviate the tension of the movie, and there were two instances that tickled me quite a bit in this movie. Horror stories within cinema and theatres were well documented all over Asia, and coming soon might be one of the rare features to work on that subliminal fear we have here in Asia with regards to a place constantly in darkness. It was not hard to see Sopon Sadat Pisit and his co-writers wanted to use the winning formula of the plot of Shuttle, but comparatively, Coming Soon was always going to be a second fiddle in all aspects of the filmmaking. Regardless, Coming Soon is still a decent horror movie from Thailand, which still produced a couple of memorable ones each year, but the output certainly paled in comparison to the likes of Philippines, Indonesia, and even Taiwan, when it used to rid the region with the likes of J-horror in the 1990s and the 2000s. Coming Soon had come and gone in my books, and will be awarded 6 out of 10 for the efforts. Please continue to support my channel by clicking a like to help with the algorithm and spread the words to more horror movies loving fans. My previous review was on Norwegian directors Emily Blichfeld's extreme body horror take on Cinderella in The Ugly Stepsister. Maya, Tevin, and Shane were all mired in some sort of predicament that they were fighting to overcome, yet it seems like whatever they did, it proved to be futile.